Hi, welcome to Lab 3. In this lab, we are integrating on-premises HPC cluster with CycleCloud. So in this lab, we are going to create a headless cluster template which doesn't have the scheduler configuration. This template is designed only for execute nodes. Then we have to point our template to use our Slum head node that we created in the on-prem network. We have to design the VM types and partitions for cloud nodes. Then we have to configure the shared NFS file system that we created on the head node. And finally, we have to run the integrator script, which will help us to connect the on-premises scheduler to the CycleCloud. Let's go to the CycleCloud terminal. So we have a cluster here, which is terminated. Um, we can go to the web UI, and this is the cluster that we used uh, when we created the Azure only HPC cluster. Um, so let's go to the GitHub repo. Uh, in the GitHub repo, we have a directory called as CycleCloud. This has got some helper script to prepare the Slum template, and then this will also help to build the cluster. And there is a template also I kept, which is basically the headless template. Let's see this in action. Uh, we have to clone this repo. So this is my CycleCloud. I may have to install the Git. So let me do the package installation. Yeah. So Git is not there. This is Alma Linux VM. The CycleCloud is built on, so I'm using the yum commands to install the Git and Vim editor. So let's clone the repository. And this is my HPC admin user, the CycleCloud administrator account. Now let's go to the directory CycleCloud and execute 01 prepare slum template, the first script. So this will give us a project version. This is a Slum project version for CycleCloud 3012. The Slum version, this is the same version that we are used in our on-premises environment from the previous lab. And here is the template. So let's take a look at this template. Um, so this is not prepared yet. This is the template configuration. So this is how the CycleCloud templates looks like, and all the customization in the UI, all the setting that we can control via this template. Um, so we define all these variables here. So we have uh, a section for scheduler. So we don't need scheduler because we are going to use the on-premises scheduler. So we are going to remove this. And we have a couple of other things like a scheduler high availability. This also we don't need it. We need to remove it from this template. And similarly, whatever the components that we not needed for this setup, we need to remove it from this template and make it as a clean. So, and also there are other parameters like the scheduler machine type, and then login machine type. There are few things like scheduler image name, um, and then this cluster in cloud in it for the scheduler, cluster in it for the scheduler. All that scheduler related components, we need to remove it. For ease of doing that, I kept the template a editor template named as slum headless blade in the template directory in this GitHub. So if we can see this one, um, we are not using any scheduler components. It's directly starting from the node array base. That's one of the template for node array. And here we have a node array called as HPC, and the partition name is HPC here, and then HTC array, and then HTC partition. So this is how we define. So let me copy this particular template um, to the actual location of this particular template. Once this is finished, let's execute the script number to CycleCloud build cluster. Here we have to give the cluster name, the same cluster name that we given demo in our previous lab. So it is importing the template. So if I open this particular script, what it does is it is going to execute the CycleCloud import cluster command and the cluster name that we supplied. And this is a template and the configuration file, the template file, and it will import the cluster. So this is, one of the CycleCloud CLI command, and it will also give us the details about the project version, Slum versions, and all that. Now let's go to the CycleCloud portal. Let's refresh. Now we can see a new cluster named demo is created. Now there is no details, no scheduler information, nothing. Let's go and edit this cluster. Required setting. I'm going to put a VM name, change the VM SKU. I'll keep this HP 12016 RSV3 for this demo. And I'm not changing any other things at this point in time. I'm choosing the subnet. So this will be our cloud subnet that we created under HPC demo. Um, and we are not touching the HA. And then here is the NFS setting, the shared storage. So for external NFS, so we have an external NFS that we created on the scheduler. So if you remember, here is the place it's given us the IP address. We'll copy the IP address, paste it here, and similarly paste it here. So this will mount the /skate, this will mount the /shared onto the cloud bursted node in CycleCloud. And then next, we have to make sure that we are using the exact same Slum version, 24.0542. That's the same that we installed on the scheduler. And we're not touching anything here. We are using the same HPC Ubuntu 22.04 in all the partition. And we have another options like customizations. We are not touching that. And next, and then cloud init. In the cloud init, I am adding a name resolution, the HPC internal, the private DNS zone that we created. So this will get configured when the nodes comes up. Saving it, and then start this cluster. So this is started, but there is no compute node like what we have seen in the first lab. There is no node. There's no arrays, so there's no scheduler here. Only the compute nodes are available, and there's no nodes. Now, from the CycleCloud perspective, it is finished. Now let's go to the scheduler node, and in the same GitHub repository, the CycleCloud Hybrid HPC Lab, I kept another script called as CycleCloud integrator.sh. So let's execute that sh02 CycleCloud integrator.sh. Enter the cluster name. The cluster name is demo. And the CycleCloud username, the admin username that we have supplied. So it's HPC admin. Let me do it again. Demo HPC admin and the password, the HPC admin password and the project version. So the project version you can find it from the CycleCloud terminal. So the project version it is written here 3012. So we'll add that and the CycleCloud URL. So it is HTTPS and then I'm going to use the private IP. So let me check the private IP. It is 10.2.1.2.4. So I'm adding that, enter. So this is going to talk to the CycleCloud and it is downloading the project files for autoscale library and this will get executed. So now we can see the autoscaler is integrated and it does the configuration and it integrated the Slum scheduler with CycleCloud. So now we can see if I run sinfo, we can see the GPU, HPC and HTC partitions are available. And before changing anything, I need to make few changes in our slurm.conf file. We have a prologue script and we have a resume program and a resume fail program and we have a suspend program. So I added this when I'm creating the head node. I'll have to unhash it from the configuration to make that impact. I just changed it and I'm also have to add my on-prem partition which uh, is get removed by now because of this integration thing. I just kept it as a additional script for adding that in. Now let's restart the slum CTLD service. So the slum CTLD restarts successfully. Now let's see sinfo. In sinfo, we have a GPU partition, we have an HPC partition, we have an HTC partition, and a dynamic partition. So the first four partition coming from the CycleCloud and the on-prem our on-prem partition. So we successfully completed the integration now. Now let's see the posting in action. Before that, let's add the user. Let us go to the CycleCloud, go to the add user, and I want one user for testing. So I will create a user, Vinyl. So if you have an LDAP, you don't have to create, or if you have any central user authentication mechanism, you don't have to do this. I'm creating this user manually. Um, I'm adding a password for this user. And I'm giving a global node admin, global admin user, global node user, and a user. And save this. So I have a user, and the user ID is 20,003. And the user is configured in the CycleCloud. This will automatically get applied to the cluster available. So we can see there are two users, HPC admin and Vinyl. And now let's go back to the scheduler. And here I kept another script called a user add example. So here I will add the user here, Vinil, and the UID 20,003, and the GID also same 20,003. So this will create a home directory under /shared, and it will also create a passwordless SSH authentication between nodes. I will do the same thing here in the compute node, and I will give the same user ID and the GID. Now, all the user ID across the compute node, scheduler, and the CycleCloud is same. So this is my user ID now, and su-vinil, I have it as info. So we have an on-prem node, we have an HTC, we have an HPC, we have a GPU, we have a dynamic partition. So we successfully created or integrated the on-prem HPC scheduler to CycleCloud. Thank you.